5 children vanished on Christmas Eve, 1945. Their home burned to the ground, but not a single trace of their bodies was ever found. Not a bone, not a tooth. And nearly 80 years later, no one can explain why. Tonight, we're opening the case file on one of America's most chilling, unsolved mysteries, the vanishing of the Sodder Children. Welcome to Rusted Archives, forgotten stories, eerie truths. If you crave mysteries that never rest, hit subscribe and let's dive deep into the shadows of history. George Sodder, born Giorgio Soddu in Sardinia, Italy, immigrated to the United States in 1908. He built a life in West Virginia, marrying Jenny Cipriani and raising 10 children in a 2-story timber home just north of Fayetteville. By 1945, the Sodders were well respected, but George's outspoken criticism of Mussolini had earned him enemies. On December 24, 1945, in the quiet town of Fayetteville, West Virginia, George and Jenny Sodder, Italian immigrants, celebrated the night with 9 of their 10 children. Their oldest son, Joe, was away serving in the military. Marion, 19, surprised her younger sisters with gifts. The children begged to stay up later than usual, and their mother allowed it. But as the night grew darker, strange events began to unfold. A mysterious phone call at 12:30 a.m., a woman laughing, asking for a name Jenny didn't recognize, would be the first of many ominous signs. Just after 1 a.m., Jenny woke to a strange thumping sound on the roof. Moments later, the smell of smoke filled the air. The Sodder home was on fire. By 1:30 a.m., flames erupted in George's office. George, Jenny, and 4 children escaped, but 5, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, were trapped upstairs with the stairway being engulfed in flames. Attempts to call the fire department failed. The local truck drivers and a frozen water barrel couldn't help. George smashed a window, slicing his arm and yelling, desperate to reach them. Outside, he tried to grab his ladder, but it was missing. He ran to start his coal truck to climb to the 2nd floor. Both trucks were mysteriously dead. Within 45 minutes, the Sodder home collapsed into a heap of smoldering rubble, and the children were gone. At sunrise, a horrifying discovery, or rather, the lack of one. There were no bodies. Investigators said the fire burned hot enough to cremate them completely, but experts disagree that a woodhouse fire rarely reaches that heat, and the household appliances were still recognizable. Then, the clues started piling up. The phone line wasn't burned, it was cut. The ladder was found 75 feet away, down an embankment. A man was spotted stealing a block and tackle from the Sodder property. A woman reported seeing the children in a passing car as the fire burned. Weeks later, George received a photo in the mail. A young man who looked eerily like his missing son, Louis. On the back, a cryptic note, "I love brother Frankie, ill boys, A90132 or 3. Officials declared the fire an accident caused by faulty wiring, but George had recently had the house rewired. Jenny found it impossible to believe all 5 children had perished. Bones were never properly recovered, and fire experts later noted the ashes couldn't have completely consumed 5 bodies. Jenny kept the lights on in her home for decades, waiting for her children to return. In the months that followed, strange signs suggested the children might have survived. Witnesses reported seeing them in cars, at rest stops, and even a week after the fire. George and Jenny hired private investigators. Odd discoveries, a green rubber ball resembling an incendiary device, phone lines deliberately cut, hinted that the fire may have been deliberate. Theories spread quickly. Was it a botched kidnapping by the mafia? A revenge plot over George's outspoken political opinions? Some even whispered about child trafficking rings. The Sodders built a billboard along Route 16, offering a $10,000 reward. It stood there for decades, a grim reminder that answers never came. George tirelessly followed leads: a magazine photo, reports of the children in convents, letters, and even an alleged photograph of Lewis in Central City, Kentucky, kept hope alive. In 1949, bone fragments were found at the fire site, but analysis suggested they didn't belong to the missing children. Federal authorities, local police, and even the FBI closed their investigations, leaving the Sodders with more questions than answers. The Sodders never rebuilt the home. They turned the site into a memorial garden, planted flowers, and put up a billboard offering a reward for information. George died in 1969. Jenny tended to the garden and mourned in black until she died in 1989. Their surviving children and grandchildren continue to publicize the case online, hoping to uncover the truth. If the children perished in the fire, where are the bones? If they survived, who took them? And, perhaps the most chilling question, who sent that photograph? To this day, the fate of the 5 Sodder children remains unknown. Some believe they perished in the fire. Others think they were kidnapped, possibly taken back to Italy, or hidden to protect them from danger. The mystery endures, a haunting tale of love, loss, and unanswered questions that continues to captivate generations. Do you believe the Sodder children were taken, or did the fire erase all evidence? Leave your theory in the comments. Subscribe to Rusted Archives for more mysteries that refuse to die.